Getting you ready for game time. Join me, Sal from Behind the Arc Basketball, as I announce play-by-play. Make sure to smash the like and subscribe, because now we're about to go live. Entering the pregame, we now present Sal from Behind the Arc Basketball. And what's good, everybody? Welcome in. Glad to have you guys back at the stream once again tonight here on Behind the Arc Basketball, covering play-by-play of the WCC Tournament Championship, a yearly event for the Gonzaga Bulldogs, and they are back once again in the West Coast Conference Tournament Championship game, this time as the number 2 seed for the Zags, a record of 27-5. 14-2 in the WCC as the tiebreaker went to the 1 seed to be the top seed of St. Mary's Gaels tonight. In this matchup at 26-6, same conference record as Gonzaga, as both of these teams are 14-2 in their conference. If you guys are new in the stream, make sure to hit the thumbs up, spike the like, hit the subscribe. We're going to tip off in a little bit, just waiting for the end of the Horizon League Tournament Championship. Got a couple tickets being punched momentarily into March Madness, as I'll update you guys on what's going on throughout the scores here in college basketball. This should be a tremendous matchup. Gonzaga won the first, Gonzaga took the second game against St. Mary's. St. Mary's was able to take the first game in overtime at home for St. Mary's, but Gonzaga took the second game at the Kennel. Gonzaga ranked at number 9 in this week's top 25 poll, St. Mary's at number 16. It was St. Mary's who won 78-70 back on February the 4th, and Gonzaga won February 25th, 77-68. Both of the teams able to split the series with home victories. What's good, Armando? Welcome to the stream. Thanks so much for joining in again. Vegas, Warren, King Markey, Joe, welcome on board once again. This should be a great matchup here. Gonzaga, the top scoring team in college basketball once again this season, averaging above 87 points per game. St. Mary's top 5 defense and fewest points allowed this season for the Gaels. Northern Kentucky leading Cleveland State Horizon League Tournament Championship. 17 seconds left to go, 61-56. So we're just awaiting for the winner of this game before we tip off between Gonzaga and St. Mary's in a little bit. Daniel, welcome in, man. Hey, there you go. Happy birthday to Armando. That's awesome. Hope all is going well there. Glad to have you back in the stream once again. Ryan, welcome in. Taking Gonzaga tonight, 77-74. Yeah, I got for my prediction in this match, I'm going Gonzaga. I didn't catch the Gonzaga game yesterday since that was the late one, but I watched the ending of St. Mary's BYU. BYU was down by 20, and then they started a full-court press St. Mary's, and St. Mary's, they got really just, they were just miscombobulated, all out of sorts for St. Mary's. And the final 10 minutes of that game as BYU mounted a massive comeback. They came up just a little bit too short, though, in that game. Kind of shocked by the line. Gonzaga is only a 2.5-point favorite on the line. I thought it'd be a little bit more or so. Especially if St. Mary's gets down. It could be tough in this game if Gonzaga starts to score early on. St. Mary's, it's tough because they play with one of the slowest tempo offenses in the nation, that they have to control the game. It's all through their defense, what St. Mary's does. Here we go, scoreboard update. Fairleigh Dickinson, Merrimack, final minute and a half. Fairleigh Dickinson, NEC Tournament Championship, leading 66-62. They have already punched their ticket in the March Madness with that unfortunate 4-year transition to Division I rule that Merrimack has to go through. So Merrimack, unfortunately, not eligible. That's too bad. And Northern Kentucky leading Cleveland State, 10.2 seconds left to go. Northern Kentucky looking to go dancing if they can close it out for the final 10 seconds. 63-58. Northern Kentucky 10 seconds away from being crowned Horizon League tournament champs. Virginia Tech trailing against Notre Dame. They have come back. They've tied it up at 64. That's the first round of the ACC tournament as it began today. Notre Dame was leading throughout majority of that game. Virginia Tech just took the lead as I spoke, 66-64. And then in the Colonial, let's see here what we got. Charleston, UNC Wilmington. It is tied now, 53-53. Charleston has just tied it up, trailing most of that game against UNC Wilmington. Charleston, if they do record a loss, they'd probably be the... I don't think they make it into the tournament, unfortunately, because of their easy schedule for Charleston. Charleston record of 30-3. They'd be the first 30-plus win team to miss the tournament in tournament history, I believe, for Charleston. Just unfortunate for them. It's just so tough to win 30 games in the season, but the thing is, the schedule for them just... They only played one Power 5 school. It was North Carolina, which they allowed above 100 to, which... UNC right now isn't even a lock to make the tournament. For UNC, they got some serious work to do in their ACC tournament and gonna have to make it to like at least the ACC tournament championship, most likely. I can imagine you probably want to win it outright if you're North Carolina to get to March Madness for the preseason number 1 this year. But Charleston, that's the only team that they faced of like Power 5 significance in the non-conference schedule, and it started off the year too, and they gave up above 100, so just tough right there for Charleston. Gonna have to win their conference in order to get there. Right now they're tied up at 53. What's good? I don't know anymore. Welcome back in the stream, bud. Cleveland State just got a quick 3. 0.2 of a second left to go, though. Northern Kentucky leads 63-61. Yeah, there's too many Big Ten teams in the bracket. I believe they have like 10 total teams for like consideration in the bracket. Watch for Nebraska to take out a couple of those teams in the Big Ten tournament, but they still get considered in March Madness. That would be ridiculous. But this season, Nebraska's been the place where teams have gone to for bubble teams that they've got just ripped to shreds with their bubble chances because of that. And if Nebraska rips the hearts of teams in the tournament once again, most likely we'll be playing in the NIT if that happens. But that's the team right there that has the chance to play spoiler into teams in the Big Ten that's on the cut line right now. Michigan, Penn State, Rutgers, specifically Rutgers, because of how many games they've dropped as of late. They've completely fallen back. And the Horizon League tournament champion has been crowned. Northern Kentucky receives the inbound. Time runs off the clock before Cleveland State could commit a foul. And Northern Kentucky going back to the big dance once again. Crowned 2020 Horizon League tournament champions 3 years ago for Northern Kentucky. Wasn't able to participate in the NCAA tournament due to the tournament not happening 3 years ago. And here we are, Northern Kentucky back to the big dance for NKU. So another ticket punch to March Madness. Gonzaga versus St. Mary's will tip off in about a minute or so. Starting lineups look like this tonight. For Gonzaga, Julian Strother, Nolan Hickman, and Rasir Bolton all in the backcourt. Drew Timme and Anton Watson in the front court for the Zags. St. Mary's starters, they go with 3 guards as well. Logan Johnson, Aiden Mahaney, and Alex Dukas. Kyle Bowen, Mitchell Saxon in the front court for St. Mary's. This matchup at Las Vegas, Gonzaga coming in as a 2.5-point favorites. Both of these teams split the regular season matchups against each other. St. Mary's took the first one in overtime in their home floor out of Moraga 78-70 back on February the 4th. They met up late stage of the season at the Kennel in Gonzaga. Gonzaga winning in Spokane 77-68. And here they are meeting up in the WCC Tournament Championship. No shocker there. I like this. I like the format that they use for the WCC. How they have it's multiple game buys for both Gonzaga and St. Mary's. If you're one of those teams like Florida Atlantic should be in, but yeah, VCU is a prime example this year. Actually, the A10's had multi-bids though, in previous years, but they're just gonna get one this year. So maybe a conference like that, more so for the mid-majors, like a conference like the Summit League, Oral Roberts, or the Colonial with Charleston. I think those conferences, like the one-bid leagues, America East, that's another one with like Vermont. They should, in the future, look towards the format what the WCC does. The WCC and the OVC, they do the format where the top seed gets multiple days of rest, and like the bottom seeds have to play their way each and every game to move forward in the bracket. And it's a really good structure, I feel like, because the tournament's shorter, but the better teams get more days of rest, and they meet whoever is able to beat the other opponents along the way to get there. And then you don't have like a chance of an upset that happens like a 1 versus an 8 in the upset. Anthony, thanks so much for joining in. Appreciate it for joining on the stream. All right, here we go as we tip off. Gonzaga, dark blue uniforms, white numbers, white letters for the matchup. The Zags go right to left on the floor. St. Mary's, white uniforms, red numbers, red letters, blue pinstripe outline down the right and left side of their uniforms. Drew Timme receives a post touch, pivot move, turnaround shot, missed off the side of the rim, and the rebound goes to St. Mary's as the Gaels have their first possession. Logan Johnson, Aiden Mahaney, Alex Dukas in the backcourt, Kyle Bowen, Mitchell Saxon in the front court for St. Mary's in their starting five, Julian Strother, Nolan Hickman, Rasir Bolt in the backcourt for Gonzaga, and Drew Timme, Anton Watts in the front court for the Zags as well. Drew Timme been there for, Gonzaga legends. Been at Gonzaga for such a long time, it seems like right now. Wow, Virginia Tech came all the way from behind. Virginia Tech wins 67-64 tonight in the ACC first round against Notre Dame. So Mike Bray, his time at Notre Dame is done. Gonzaga missed a shot. Great defense by St. Mary's. This is a tremendous matchup. St. Mary's, number 5 in college hoops and fewest points allowed this season. Gonzaga, the top scoring team in all college basketball, attacking inside the paint. Missed layup by St. Mary's off the right side of the glass by Aiden Mahaney. First minute through. Gonzaga takes up the floor with Timme. Pass out to his left to Hickman. Hickman at the top of the key, guarded by Mahaney. Moves it out to his left around the perimeter. Back out to the top to Anton Watson. Watson over to Bolton. Bolton out to Watson around the outside. 12 on the shot clock. Top of the key, Gonzaga. Bounce past Timme at the mid-block. Timme backs his way, and an offensive foul called on Drew Timme. So Drew Timme, first personal foul of the game, 1.5 minutes through. Turnover committed by Gonzaga. Stringer Bell, Kevin, welcome to the stream, guys. Patrick, welcome in. Thanks so much for joining in again. Third possession of the game for St. Mary's. Gonzaga was pressing St. Mary's. Quick three at the wing, missed by the Gaels by Alex Dukas. St. Mary's struggled last night against a full court press by BYU in the last 10 minutes of action. BYU was down by 20. They came back and they lost in yesterday's game, but they made it close to the very end. Watson jumper missed off the rim, and this is a slow start for both of these teams. Nobody on the board in the first 2 minutes. This game's playing out to the favor of St. Mary's early on. St. Mary's slowing down the tempo. Number 5 defense in college hoops and fewest points allowed, and playing to their tempo. Backdoor cut, bounce pass, and they get called in the travel. Turnover by St. Mary's. So sloppy game so far. St. Mary's 0 for 3 and a turnover. Gonzaga 0 for 2 and an offensive foul by Timme. Gonzaga takes up the floor. Strother passes out to his right around the perimeter, back on top to Timmy. Timmy hands it off to Strother. Strother at the top of the key. Bounce pass over to Timmy at the left elbow. Timmy backs his way, sends it out to Strother at the wing. Strother off fake, drives on Dukas, floats up the runner off the back rim, no good. Tipped up, battle for the rebound, pulled down on the near side of the floor by Kyle Bowen of St. Mary's. I got an email in the About page, so go to the About page of my channel. I got my email listed over there. All you have to do is click on it, and it comes up. Attacking downhill, blocked, and we do have a... Oh, it's going to be called out of bounds. So it was a clean block by Gonzaga, but it did touch the baseline, so it will stay St. Mary's basketball. Inbound for St. Mary's, top of the key three, missed off the back rim too long by Alex Dukas. Rebounded by Bolton. Bolton slides it out to the wing. Step back three in the air. Swoosh. Finally, somebody scores. It's Nolan Hickman who drills the three. First bucket of the game for Gonzaga. Hey, Hino Joso, welcome back in. Thanks so much for stopping by. Slow start scoring, 16:40 left to go in the first so far. Mario, welcome back in, man. St. Mary's with a possession, top of the key with Logan Johnson. Johnson backs his way inside the key now. Johnson with the right hand, scores up and in off the glass. Gonzaga pushing it up quick up the floor again. Timmy moves it out to his left to Hickman. Hickman with the first made three of the game for the Zags. Watson attacks inside the paint. And we have a reach and fall picked up, though, by St. Mary's as charged to Mitchell Saxon. So St. Mary's with their first personal foul of the game. Does Marquette have a chance for a 1 seed? I'd say probably the furthest they can go is a 2 seed, in my opinion. Oh, nice pass over to Anton Watson, cutting baseline. He throws it down with a two-handed jam. 5-2 Zags now. 4 minutes into the game. Full court pressure. St. Mary's able to get it away. So Gonzaga goes right to the BYU textbook from yesterday. BYU, late stage of the game, pressuring St. Mary's. St. Mary's didn't handle the press too well last night. Logan Johnson dribbles inside the key. Johnson up fake, puts it up and puts it through. Right over Timmy for 2. So they got some upper-class players in the St. Mary's team, but their top player is actually a first-year player this season, Aiden Mahaney, number 20. So it's going to be interesting to see how he handles this type of environment, totally different, playing inside a tournament level of an environment. We know that guy's going to show up, so many years of experience. Drew Timmy down inside the low post, scores, receives the pass underneath the hoop, up and good for 2. Spenders for just a Gonzaga legend for Drew Timmy. Logan Johnson, pass out to the corner. Mahaney for the tie. Missed off the back rim, tipped up, tipped off the glass. Offensive rebound controlled by Dukas. St. Mary's will slow it down again. Logan Johnson inside the key, working on Timmy. Out to the top, Dukas makes the pass to his right to Mahaney. Over to the wing, Johnson takes the three. Missed off the rim again. And a rebound fall picked up by St. Mary's. So 7-4 Gonzaga, 14:43 left to go. We're going to take the first media timeout of the game now. Slow start for both of these teams offensively. Gonzaga started to get their way going. Last couple possessions, 3 of 7 shooting the ball. St. Mary's held to just 2 for 8 so far in the game, and also 2 turnovers by the Gaels. All right, first timeout tonight. If you guys are new in the stream, hit the thumbs up, spike the like, hit the subscribe here. If you guys are interested, feel free to join the Behind Your Basketball Bracket Challenge for March Madness. That link is posted in the chat, pinned in the chat, and all are welcome to be a part of the Bracket Challenge. It's totally free to join, costs nothing to be a part of the Bracket Challenge and the ESPN Tournament Challenge. And all you have to do, just if you have an ESPN account, you can hit the join group and join the group for Behind Your Basketball. If you don't have an ESPN account, all you have to do is create one, and then you're part of the tournament challenge. Just hit join group and then fill out your bracket anywhere to Selection Sunday all the way to Thursday, March 16th around noontime, where brackets lock. Yeah, Zach Edey, National Player of the Year. I think Jamarian Sharp for Western Kentucky is actually the tallest player because Edey's 7'4". I believe Jamarian Sharp of Western Kentucky is 7'5". Jay Ramirez, welcome back in, man. Wow, Oral Roberts, there we go. Thanks so much for the scoreboard update. All right, so we're now into a new batch of games just to update you guys as we're about 6 minutes of action here. Here we go. Games that's gone final, punching their tickets into the bracket. Welcome to March Madness. Totally deserved for the College of Charleston. Getting there. College of Charleston 63-58, outlasting UNC Wilmington. Charleston 31-3. They did what they had to do. They locked their spot into the bracket, and they're projected probably to be a 12 seed for Charleston. So congratulations to Charleston. They were ranked at one point this season. 31-3 will be part of the NCAA tournament, winning over UNC Wilmington in a comeback win today. Merrimack won, but Merrimack unfortunately not eligible. They won by 67-66, but according to NCAA rules, the four-year transition period, which is unfortunate. That's why it's unfortunate. That has to be abolished. 67-66. Yep, Charleston Cougars. Yeah, I thought that was correct. I've heard Charleston, College of Charleston, before that they've called it twice. We get back to action. 14.5 left to go. Gonzaga has it down low. Timmy, nice spin move. He's just too good with his footwork, able to blow past one player and score up in and off the glass. He was working on number 14, Kyle Bowen, and Gonzaga comes out with a steal. Pass ahead, Strother out in transition. He scores plus the foul. Is paying well for Gonzaga right now, 11-4. St. Mary's yesterday against BYU struggling early, struggling in the late stage of that game when it came down to full court press. We see Gonzaga pressure St. Mary's with Mahaney right at the midcourt logo. They double team Mahaney, and Mahaney threw it right off a deflection. Gonzaga came up with a steal, and the outlet ahead off the Strother behind the D was able to score the layup plus the foul. Worst case scenario, that possession for St. Mary's, and now St. Mary's trailing by 8 in the first 8 minutes. This is not looking so hot for St. Mary's as Gonzaga goes right to the full court press again. Mahaney passes out to his right around the perimeter. Logan Johnson, Mitchell Saxon with 2 personal fouls. Not a good sign for St. Mary's so far in this game. Johnson moves it out to Mahaney. Over to Johnson again at the top. At the low block, tough shot, off the glass, no good, and Anton Watson comes out with a defensive board. Yep, Louisville finishes the season on a rough note today. 13.5 left to go. Gonzaga driving down low, missed shot, and a tip-in able to get it for the Zags, so they lead 14-4, able to clean it up for 2 off the tip. That's Malachi Smith. Transfer from Chattanooga. Last year, he was the SoCon Player of the Year in 2022. So he's got tournament experience from another team, transferred to Gonzaga out in the offseason. Jumper inside a key. That's a make by number 5, Joshua Jefferson for St. Mary's. Joe, welcome in. I got a couple teams in mind right now. I'm going with either Kansas or Houston. Those two have really stuck out to me this year. I had Alabama for most of the year, but I feel like lately Alabama's dropped a little bit. I think they peaked the last couple weeks for Alabama. $12:37 left to go. Inbound for Gonzaga, 8-point lead. Anton Watson, number 22, passes on top. 3-point shot taken, and it gets the bounce. Julian Strawder, that's a Damian Lillard type 3 back in the bubble where it bounced all the way off the back rim and it dropped down, sinked through through the bottom of the nets. Gets the lucky bounce off the back and then down 17-6. 12:10 left to go in the first. St. Mary's in deep, deep trouble right now. This is not known to be a go-to scoring team. They're one of the most slowest tempo offenses in all college hoops. Mahaney missed the layup. Offensive rebound down low, though, with Saxon. Shovels it inside a key, and a blocking foul picked up by Strawder. 2 free throws coming up at the line for Joshua Jefferson. And looks like we'll head to another timeout. 11:57 left to go. So we'll take the second timeout of the game, and this just been dominant so far for Gonzaga here. Second media timeout. Gonzaga looking solid, 12-2 run, perfect 7 for 7 after a slow start to open up the matchup. We're going to go right to the scoreboard here. Wow, we got some blowouts at this hour. Oral Roberts leading North Dakota State 26-11. Oral Roberts, they look lethal. Looking to punch their ticket to March Madness and looking to go deja vu all over again from 2 years ago. Max Asmus, that team has a lot of players back from that tournament team Sweet 16 run from 2 years ago for Oral Roberts. If they win tonight, they'd be 30-4 entering the bracket. A lot of early on tournament games that's resulting in blowouts right now. Tarleton winning against UT Rio Grande Valley 21-4. Northwestern State winning against New Orleans 16-7. That Northwestern State team won against TCU back in November. St. Peter's, the Peacocks, back in action. First round of the NCAA tournament, and St. Peter's up 36-33. Laszlo, welcome back in. Thanks so much for joining in, man. Yep, if we only had the big Grant Williams big ew reaction from last night. I'm going to make both of the free throws. Looking like Christmas at halftime for Grant Williams. Yeah, right. Yeah, the dude didn't back up his talk. It's embarrassing. Embarrassing yesterday from Grant Williams. And he played horrendous on Sunday, too. Some bad falls down the stretch that cost the Celtics against the Knicks. St. Mary's at the free throw line. First one's good for Joshua Jefferson. Second one's good. Under 12 minutes left to go before halftime. Julian Strawder turns the corner, attacks inside the paint, float to the shot, rattles in. 19-8, Gonzaga, efficient, perfect 8 for 8 from the floor. It's the reason why this team's the number 1 scoring team in all college hoops. They keep on pressuring St. Mary's. St. Mary's struggling to get past that full court press. They're able to do so that time, though. Handoff to Mahaney. He's been quiet today. Just 2 points, 1 for 4 shooting. Top scorer this season, Mahaney. Inside a key with a left hand, he scores. So Aiden Mahaney on the board now puts it to a 9-point game. And that's the top scorer this season for St. Mary's. His first live tournament action this season. That's an air ball for Gonzaga. Able to get saved, though, by Anton Watson at the baseline. Watson dribbles into the key. Spin move and lost it. Knocked out of bounds. Last touch, though, by the Gaels. So it'll stay Zag's ball with 10:57. Yeah, I've seen Oral Roberts as a 12 seed for them. Wow, Timmy going up and down. That's called a travel. St. Mary's bench clearly signaled that. It was a little bit late, like delayed on the whistle, but Drew Timmy called in the travel. Second turnover of the game for Gonzaga. St. Mary's with 3. And a kicked ball in the backcourt. It will stay St. Mary's basketball. Yeah, Oral Roberts and Charleston will probably be a 12 seed for those two teams. There's going to be a lot of good 12 and 13 seeds to consider. I feel like a lot of teams are red hot right now, and they could be in line for a 13 seed. I've seen Toledo on a lot of bracketologies be a 13 seed instead of a 12, which. Yeah, it all comes down to whoever wins the MAC tournament. There's 2 legitimate teams, Kent State and Toledo. Whoever wins the MAC certainly deserves to win it. And if one of those teams, or whoever the mid-major is, that gets put against Virginia, I'm firing that right in there. I saw yesterday on, I think it's Bartorvik that does efficiency rankings, and you can do the rankings, you can set a time period for the rankings. So I did the efficiency rankings from 1 month to the date, and Virginia was all the way back in the 90s in the nation. They've been struggling lately for Virginia. They had that bad loss by double digits at Boston College. Drew Timmy eating his way right inside the low post scores. Virginia will probably be a 4 seed, most likely. So they'll get a 13. Depends on who they get. But they could get another team from the MAC, which happened last time. Ohio able to beat them 2 years ago. Corner 3 missed by St. Mary's, left out in the open. Under 10 minutes left to go in the first. Gonzaga with a possession. Julian Straughter. Straughter passed out to his left to Ben Gregg, number 33, first time into the game. Hunter Salas. Outside to Gregg, 15 on the shot clock. Gregg takes the 3, and it missed short, with St. Mary's coming up with the basketball. Spin move. Down low, dish out on top, and St. Mary's turned it over. Backcourt violation, poor pass. As it rolls out of bounds, and turnover has been a major issue in this game for St. Mary's. They were going right to the rim. All you had to do was just lay it up, and decided to pass the ball backwards. Ty, welcome back in. Yeah, San Francisco, Ohio, those were the 2 teams from 2 years ago that beat Virginia. James Madison lost to Virginia by 5. Two-handed jam, Gonzaga playing with the energy. Hunter Salas cutting baseline, throws it down. Drew Timmy with an assist. In the backcourt, St. Mary's gets pressure. Mahaney able to cross midcourt from the pass by Marcelonis to Mahaney. Mahaney will slow it down. 9 minutes left to go. Marcelonis at the wing. First time in the game for St. Mary's. Handoff back to Mahaney. He's been silent, just 2 points so far in this game. 1 for 5 shooting. Mahaney at the baseline. Mahaney. Oh, huge rejection by Ben Gregg as he swats it like a volleyball. It pinned all the way out of bounds, and it will stay St. Mary's basketball with 1 second on the shot clock. That was a major rejection there at the baseline for Ben Gregg, bringing the energy in this game for number 33. Ooh, I think that should be... Wow. Referees rolled it out of bounds by Gonzaga. That looked quick on the replay. Kyle Bowen, it went off his head, but either way, turnover there by St. Mary's. Shot clock violation. Charge to the Gaels. It will go back to the Zags. Yeah, Oral Roberts is lethal. I think we can make a case now, Oral Roberts, whoever they play. And there's a couple good Big 12 teams that defend the perimeter really hard. That's the thing. Iowa State, TCU, but in that case, I still like Oral Roberts, I feel like. Even though I think I'm pretty confident if the Big 12 gets the right matchups, they go undefeated. in their opening game. Everybody in the Big 12 wins, no matter who they're playing. If they all get like the right draws and stuff. But if you get an Oral Roberts, it really just throws a tough one right there to you. As Gonzaga missed the 3 straight away. Here's the matchup I would love to see. Oral Roberts versus Xavier, first round. If Xavier loses in the Big East tournament early on, Xavier could drop to a 5. That would be a first game to 100 type of matchup. Xavier without Zach Fremantle. Xavier's defense ranked in the 330s this season in most points allowed. They're one of the most explosive offenses, though, in the nation for Xavier. They're number 1 in assists per game. That's one heck of a matchup if it happens. Free throws here coming up at the line for St. Mary's. First one a miss by Augustus Marcelonis. This was an issue yesterday for St. Mary's. They shot the ball under 68% at the free throw line. They attempted 32 free throws total. Second free throw missed as well. Right now, St. Mary's projected as a 5 seed. That's like a first one to 50 if they take on VCU, but also Oral Roberts could get St. Mary's, and right now, St. Mary's, this offense is an absolute grind right now for St. Mary's, and they're not overly athletic. That's the problem for the St. Mary's team. They could be in trouble against a team like Oral Roberts if they draw them. Straightaway 3, Gonzaga zips it through. 26-12 right now. Malachi Smith comes off the bench, drills the 3. Bryce, welcome in. Timeout taken on the floor by St. Mary's. Gonzaga just owning this matchup right now. 7-zip run by the Zags. St. Mary's in a 3-minute scoring drought. This is a St. Mary's team that's mixed with seniors and freshmen on the roster. And their top scorer is a freshman, and their top scorer hasn't really been able to play that well of a WCC tournament so far. He hasn't been able to get the tournament experience. And if this team, I'm looking at St. Mary's right here, if they draw Oral Roberts, they're in trouble. There's a couple of teams, if they're a 5 seed that draws Oral Roberts, the 12 seed, they are in trouble. St. Mary's, San Diego State, if they win the Mountain West and they move up to the 5. San Diego State, I don't think they have the firepower to contend. They're a physical team, but every single tournament, year in, year out, just disappoints. Right now, according to Lunardi, the 5s look like this. Iowa State, which Iowa State's one of the best perimeter Ds. St. Mary's, which gets Charleston, according to Lunardi. Miami, which Miami has potential to move up to a 4. Potentially even a 3, I feel like, if they win the ACC tournament. If they keep on winning, Miami can move up. That's a huge matchup if both Duke and Miami advance, play each other in the ACC semis. Whoever wins that, I believe, would most likely take the ACC tournament, whoever wins Miami-Duke. TCU right now drawing Drake in the bracket. That's a good matchup. Both of those teams are the oldest teams in the field. Like, Drake could cause some problems. They're a great defensive team for Drake. And TCU's they've been wonky this season. They haven't lived up to potential for TCU. They've been dealing with injuries in and out. If fully healthy, they can go deep, but who knows with TCU if all those guys are going to play. Like Eddie Lampkin, he's a matchup problem, but he's only been healthy for like an X amount of games this season. He hasn't been available for the full schedule. 39-12, Oral Roberts leading North Dakota State right now with 5.5 minutes remaining in the first. This game script is definitely not favoring St. Mary's. St. Mary's, once they get down, it's hard to come back. And if you put the St. Mary's team up against a high-flying firepower type of team, it's just tough for them to come back. They're not as strong as an offense. Here's the key. Oral Roberts played St. Mary's in the season opener to start off the season. St. Mary's won at home 78-70. Look how far Oral Roberts has come. Also, St. Mary's didn't have Aina Mahaney starting their season opener, but still. What my motto, me personally, what my motto is: if one team won the first time, next time around, the team that lost is going to get revenge on them. That's how I see it for the majority of times. And I think that if Oral Roberts and St. Mary's meet up against each other, Oral Roberts is hot. I'm putting in Oral Roberts to win that. Bryce, thanks so much for joining in. Okay, so here we go. We get back to action. Gonzaga full court pressuring St. Mary's still. St. Mary's able to cross midcourt. Logan Johnson dribbles inside the key. Johnson floats up the shot. Missed off the back rim. He couldn't connect on that one. That was an easy one that he missed. Off the back rim too strong. Couldn't finish at the rim. Gonzaga driving baseline. Backdoor layup. Contact and no call. St. Mary's comes out with the basketball. Johnson at the wing. Moves it cross court. Into the hands to Kyle Bowen. Hands it off to Marcelonis. Marcelonis edging the midcourt logo. Down by 14 for St. Mary's with under 7 minutes left to go before halftime. Kyle Bowen passes down low into the hands to Mitchell Saxon. Saxon couldn't finish at the rim either. Back-to-back misses from point-blank range for St. Mary's. Struggling with free throws throughout the WCC tournament, and they cannot make shots at the rim. Really concerning. Gonzaga not as strong as a defense this season. It's all about their offense year and year and year. Their efficiency, top scoring team once again for plus how many years straight they did it again this season, putting up above 87 points per game. Timmy down low, just incredible footwork, scores up and in off the glass. 8 points by Drew Timmy. Julian Strother with 8 as well. Malachi Smith with 5 off the bench for the Zags. Bounce pass off the roll down. Two-handed dunk by Mitchell Saxon for St. Mary's. Under 6 minutes left to play. And Gonzaga coming out getting paint points, which St. Mary's' strong suit has been paint defense this season. They get size. It's just Gonzaga getting them on the cutter so far in this game. Watson, mid-range, missed. Offensive rebound, couldn't finish at the rim, but Watson got fouled. And 2 free throws coming up at the line for Anton Watson for Gonzaga. Gonzaga doubling St. Mary's 28-14. Yeah, Gonzaga's been one of the most efficient teams like the last month plus. Them, Houston, of course. I think Texas is in the top 10 according to Batarvik when I saw the rankings. Texas A&M's inside the top 5 for efficiency for the past month plus. Texas A&M is 17-3 in their last 20 games. They're a sleeper team, in my opinion, for Texas A&M. They split the free throws there for the Zags. 29-14, 5.5 left to go. I've actually got Texas A&M winning the SEC tournament for my pick. Jefferson passes over to Logan Johnson. Johnson at the top of the key. Johnson double team, gets it over to Marcelonis. Marcelonis drives, kicks out to the wing, Joshua Jefferson, and a fall on the floor picked up by the Zags. Clock will stop with 5:13. Gonzaga picks up their 5th personal foul. St. Mary's with 6. Woof. Oral Roberts making up for yesterday. St. Thomas and Minnesota kept it a close game, 44-17. Wow. Thanks so much for the update there, man. Jumper to baseline. St. Mary's connects with it. Good shot selection there. Open with space off the inbound. Gonzaga called on the backcourt violation. They lost it as they were crossing midcourt. Turned over by the Zags. 3rd turnover of the game. So we'll see if St. Mary's can start to get something going here. 5 minutes left to go before halftime. Trailing by 13. Alex Dukas just 2 points in this first half. Aiden Mahaney been shut down. Mahaney just 2 points, 1 for 5 shooting, averaging around 16 points per game. And St. Mary's turns it over right back. I don't know. I'm not picking this team far based on what I'm seeing right now, calling this game for St. Mary's. They're just giving the ball away. These are bad turnovers. They're not even remotely close. The only way I'm picking St. Mary's is number 1 if they're matched up against VCU. Number 2, I'll probably consider if they're matched up against Charleston, because Charleston's played an easy schedule, but whoever the other 12 seeds are, the other 12 seeds have a great chance to win. They could drop down to an 11 as well. All depends on what happens. So they could see like an 11-game play-in winner or something like that. They could see a team like West Virginia, and that would be a matchup issue there against a team like West Virginia. Gonzaga just turned it over. West Virginia right now slotted in as an 11 seed, but that schedule, that is tough. Tough. 4:20 left to go. St. Mary's has it back, trailing by 13. Logan Johnson. They just haven't been able to settle into the game today in this matchup. Johnson at the wing. Swings it on top over to Dukas. Dukas guarded at the wing by Strother. Lobs it over to the elbow. Hand off to Johnson. Johnson at the low block working on Timmy. Johnson, tough shot, contested. Offensive rebound. Kyle Bowen in through traffic. Picks it up. Passes over to a cutter. Straight away, right down the lane with the right hand. Missed off the glass again by Marcelonis. Tipped up, and Gonzaga comes up with a defensive board. Struggling at the rim to finish has been a major issue so far with St. Mary's. Same as turnovers. Lob down low. Oh, too easy. Drew Timme up and in off the glass. 31-16 behind the defense for Timme. Timme, first player to double digits tonight with 10. He's 5 for 7 shooting. 3.5 left to go in the first. Marcelonis at the wing. Moves on top over to Logan Johnson. Pass out to his right to Jefferson. St. Mary's in trouble right now. Johnson outside. Jacks up the 3. Off the back rim, missed by St. Mary's. Tipped up. Offensive rebound into the hands to Dukas. Dukas will try a 3 at the wing. Dukas makes one. All right, so that's a big shot there. Probably not as much as like back in the day for Prime Shaq, because everything nowadays is like 3-point shooting. Nowadays, they've gone from like the traditional big man type of basketball. So yeah, I think he'd have like a tougher time in the NBA now than like 20 years ago. Timme backs his way mid block. Timme. Inside the key, Timme got stripped, he got fouled. And that's St. Mary's number 7 for personal fouls. So Drew Timme in a bonus now. Oh, wow. Sixers 15-4 when PJ Tucker scores 0. We take the timeout right now. And PJ Tucker does work when the postseason arrives. 2:41 left to go. How many teams from my area will make the tournament? So this is counting New England. UConn, Providence should. I'm not even saying Providence is a lock right now. If Providence plays against UConn and loses by 40 in the Big East tournament, I think Providence is sweating on Selection Sunday. If, say, like Michigan wins the Big Ten, if Vanderbilt wins the SEC, if Wake Forest wins the ACC or Clemson, I think if you're Providence, you're sweating on Selection Sunday. Same as whoever loses that. I think Arkansas is pretty safe, but I looked at the SEC bracket. Arkansas, Auburn in the first game of the SEC tournament against each other. I believe that's a 10 versus 7 matchup in the SEC tournament. Who would have ever thought? Arkansas is a 10 seed in their conference tournament. Auburn's dropping a lot. I think Auburn's won only 2 of the last 8 games for Auburn. So Providence should be in, barring a bad beatdown against UConn. UConn, Providence, Vermont, UMass Law are playing in the America East tournament. I don't see either of those teams as a threat to anybody in March Madness. Yale, if they win the Ivy, that is, for Yale. Ivy League tournament still has to be played. Unfortunate, I would love to see Brown make it in. Brown's lost 3 straight times now on tiebreakers for Brown. Poor Brown. I've got some connections that help out with the athletics crew over at Brown. They got a really good like announcing team over there. They've been constantly 5th place like I think 3 straight years for the Ivy in a row. And they only take the top 4 teams in the conference. It's too bad that they can't change to a bigger format. Siegel with a dono. Welcome in, Siegel. Appreciate the man for the dono. Thanks so much, brother. If you guys are interested in joining the Behind the Arc Basketball Bracket Challenge for March Madness, feel free to do so. That link is posted in the chat right now. Looks like Siegel's here for Gonzaga. Gonzaga looking good so far tonight, 31-19. Explosive Gonzaga going up against the top 5 ranked defense with St. Mary's, but St. Mary's struggling more so with their offense this season, and it's just tough once you get down by this many points, double digits. Tough to come on back from this margin, and Gonzaga just so explosive. We haven't even, like, every single year when I covered a WCC tournament championship, I remember 2 years ago, the year that BYU made it to the bracket, Gonzaga had fallen down by a bunch at halftime with a group of Drew Timme, Corey Kispert, Jalen Suggs, the team that placed runner-up to Baylor in the national championship game. That team got beat down in the first half, and then Gonzaga came out as a machine in the second half and won the WCC championship over BYU that year. And yeah, we haven't even started the second half. This is a bad sign for St. Mary's, knowing the motto every single year, Gonzaga, second half type of team, makes the adjustments, and Gonzaga up by 14 with 2:30 left to go. Aiden Mahaney, top scorer for St. Mary's, just 2 points, limited to 1 for 5 shooting. He's had a great regular season, but just the tournament, that's the thing, tournament style basketball. And that's what I have to see about Alabama. Alabama has got a lot of their key players as freshmen, but when you get into a tournament-style type of environment, it can pose problems if you don't have the experience. So that's why I'm watching close on Alabama this week. Duke with all their young players, that's another one, but they've been explosive lately. They got just so much size and talent on that Duke team. And also they got leadership as well with Jeremy Roach, who's been in tournaments before. 2 minutes left to go. St. Mary's missed again at the rim as they missed another layup. That's been a problem spot in this game for St. Mary's. Gonzaga slows down the possession. Malachi Smith, he's got tournament experience. Smith, SoCon player of the year last year at Tennessee Chattanooga. Bounce past Timme, swings it in down low, and Ben Gregg behind the D gets fouled, so Ben Gregg will shoot 2 at the line. 99 there, Siegel. Yep, St. Mary's faces when it's revealed Oral Roberts is their opponent. Yikes. Yeah, I don't think there's too many teams that's going to be able to fade Oral Roberts. Iowa State's got great perimeter defense. They just limited Baylor in that game to below 60. I like to see what Iowa State, they're an interesting team. Iowa State without Caleb Grill, their number 3 scorer. Right now, I've got them as a Sweet 16 team. Black out all the stuff that they've dropped games for Iowa State. That win against Baylor, impressive. They were a team last year that I just counted out. They scored like 40-something points in one of the games late in the year last year. They went on a bad losing streak. Kind of similar year this year. They dropped a lot of games late stage of the season for Iowa State. That's the team that nobody believes in that shows up in the bracket. They showed up last year. They made it to the Sweet 16. So I'm thinking about that one if Oral Roberts takes on Iowa State, but everybody else is vulnerable. UConn is going to move up. UConn should be a 4. Yeah, they're probably going to be a 4 or 3 for UConn. I think UConn's got a great chance to win the Big East tournament, which they should move up to a 3 for UConn. Their metrics are solid. Treeper, welcome in. Yeah, I think they got a chance for a deep run for that Oral Roberts team. They got the experience, certainly. And they got the size, too. They got Connor Vanover, a transfer from Arkansas. He's 7'3". Missed shot again at the rim by St. Mary's. Drew Timme comes up with a rebound. 40 seconds left to go before halftime in this game, dominant by Gonzaga. Malachi Smith at the wing. Pick set by Timme. Smith bounce past Timme. Timme triple team, passes to a cutter underneath Smith. And they're going to wave off. Yeah, they're going to call time for the referee as stop time with 25 seconds. And I believe St. Mary's reached in. Yeah, they did. St. Mary's reached in. Second personal foul by Aiden Mahaney, who has yet to show up in this tournament so far. Top scorer in the team, averaging above 15. Oral Roberts is going to be a 12 seed, most likely. Yeah, they're going to be a dangerous 12 seed. I would love to see Oral Roberts play Xavier. Loose ball, tipped up on the rebound, tapped out of bounds, last touch by St. Mary's off the bonus free throw. So Gonzaga will get the inbound, 24 seconds left. Hey, there you go, Mario. Best of luck for dinner tonight. Hey, thanks so much, The Real Deal. Appreciate it. Also, if you guys are interested joining in the Behind the Arc Basketball Challenge there, feel free to do so. Feel free to join in on the Behind the Arc Basketball Bracket Challenge group. Once again, we get the link posted in the description of this video, posted in the chat as well. It's pinned to the chat if you guys are interested. Last year, we got above 60-plus people who joined the group. I believe it's above 25 right now currently, with 1+ week remaining before brackets lock next Thursday. Gonzaga, 10 seconds left to go before halftime. Driving right to the rim and off the glass, miss, no good, tipped up. Battle for the rebound as St. Mary's comes down with it off the miss by Nolan Hickman. Out in transition, they couldn't get a bucket before halftime. It was too little too late. And we go into halftime, and it's a dominant first half by Gonzaga. 37-19 Zags going into half. Lopsided affair. St. Mary's with the turnover issues. Struggling to finish at the rim in this game, and the top 5 defense in all college hoops allows 37 1/2. Yeah, that's an interesting game. Oral Roberts, Xavier. I've been seeing Oral Roberts, Miami. I like that Miami team. Miami's had a couple blips, though. Florida State, Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's the one that it's got me really worried. They lost to Georgia Tech, I believe it was back in January, for Miami. I like that team. I want Miami to not get Oral Roberts, because that Miami team's fun. They're a great team to watch, and I think they can certainly go far, driven getting the right matchups. Saturday, I'm hoping to do the Big 12 tournament at 6 and then the ACC tournament at 8:30. So that's what I'm hoping to do. I'm going to be out first, for the first half of Saturday or so. My sister's got a concert for her group on Saturday afternoon, so I'm going to that with my family. But I'm hoping to be back for the Big 12 tournament at 6, and then I'm definitely back for the ACC tournament at 8:30 for that one. And then Sunday, I'm hoping to do SEC at 1, Big 10 at 3, and then Selection Sunday right after at 6. So I'm hoping to do 3 streams on Sunday, 2 on Saturday. Tomorrow, I'm going to take tomorrow off. I'm probably going to do a doubleheader on Thursday night, most likely, for the Big 12, and then Friday night as well, probably. Drew Timme, 14 points, top scorer. Only player in double figures here in the first half. Gonzaga's had 7 total players score so far in this game. St. Mary's shooting just 28% in the first half, and this is a major issue. This team's been pretty solid from three-point range, but today they're just 1 for 7 shooting the 3 ball. that's been like an issue. I know last season the thing about the tournament was that um, a lot of the efficient teams like Vermont, Vermont lost to Arkansas first round. A lot of those efficient shooting teams got out early in the bracket last year. Like the teams that would just like jack up three after three after three. They lost to like bigger, stronger, physical type of teams in the bracket last year. Let's see. So TPC Sawgrass. I'll go with the middle there. So I'll go Fowler plus 5,000 for my prediction. Let's see what we got for scores right now. Oral Roberts dominant, 51 points going into halftime against North Dakota State, 51-20. That's for the Summit Tournament Championship. Oral Roberts halfway there. And that's the only other tournament championship we've got. Charleston punching their ticket into the bracket tonight, winning over UNC Wilmington in the Colonial 63-58. Northern Kentucky punching in their ticket to the Horizon League Tournament Championship, 63-61. So they're going to March Madness for Northern Kentucky, representing the Horizon League. And then Fairleigh Dickinson lost today against Merrimack, but unfortunate with a 4-year transition rule that Merrimack not eligible for the NCAA tournament, so the NEC won anyway by Fairleigh Dickinson. Dickinson, he lost by 1 on the road at Merrimack. Braden, welcome in. Hopefully better days ahead, man. And Grant Williams really costing us lately. Yeah, so Oral Roberts right now is a 12 seed, according to Joe Lunardi. Looking at his bracket here, I'm going to pull up Palms, too, from CBS and see what he's got. Jerry Palm has a different team in the bracket for the WAC. He's got Sam Houston, which that's a team that I've got my eye on for Sam Houston. They have to win their conference tournament, but they're a top 5 defense. They're right now projected as a 12 seed. Joe Lunardi's got Utah Valley, the 1 seed in the WAC. Jerry Palm's got the 2 seed in the WAC, Sam Houston, who had won against Oklahoma in their season opener. Sam Houston draws a matchup, according to Jerry Palm, of Sam Houston State versus Texas A&M. That's an absolute bloodbath of a matchup for a first-round 12-5 game. That's even if Texas A&M gets all the way up to the 5. So that's really courteous there. Jerry Palm's got Texas A&M to the 5, where I see in other brackets Texas A&M drawing like a 7 or a 6, which they've been playing lights out for the past like month and a half. Charleston on one bracket for Lunardi. He's got Charleston as a 12. This bracket with Palm's got Charleston as a 13. This is one I really have to... Okay, Palm does Oral Roberts no justice in his bracket. Oral Roberts, this matchup I really have to think about. It's all going to come down to this week with the ACC tournament. If this is the matchup number 1, come on. Because... Duke, based on the way that Duke's been playing, they certainly don't deserve Oral Roberts. Jerry Palm's got Oral Roberts facing Duke. Like, Duke's got so much size in their team. That's the thing. Going up against, like, smaller guards for Oral Roberts. That's going to be an issue for Oral Roberts. I feel like out of, like, any matchup you could draw, that's the worst matchup possible against Duke. Like... multiple projected first-round picks on their team for Duke, and they're coming together at the right time. And you throw that. How do you throw Duke that matchup against Oral Roberts? You have to throw a team that's flailing backwards, Oral Roberts, or a smaller team that's moving upwards. Like, if San Diego State wins the Mountain West, I think San Diego State's worthy of a 5. That will put them up there. These are the teams. These are the teams right here that Oral Roberts is certainly vulnerable to upsetting. San Diego State, St. Mary's, Virginia. If Virginia loses to BC, they're a 5. Boom. There you go. There's upset all over. Xavier, that's a fun game. Xavier right now projected to play Louisiana, according to Palm. And Zach Fremantle out rest of the year. Xavier projected to play Yale, according to Joe Lunardi, which I think UConn Selection Sunday is the team that gets Yale. And UConn shows Yale who's daddy of Connecticut. Renee, welcome in. No problem. Thanks so much for joining in. So that's the story there with the Ivy League. The Ivy League teams have been playing close games in the past in March Madness. They just can't get over the hump and pick up a victory. That's the thing. UConn's got 2 Big East first-team selections. Adama Sanogo, Jordan Hawkins. They should finally get over the hump and win one, finally, instead of being a first-round exit like they've been last 2 years. So San Diego State, St. Mary's, Virginia, if they fall back to a 5. Xavier, I would hate that matchup for Miami. Whoever wins the ACC should not play Oral Roberts. That's the thing. And it all comes down to Miami or Duke, I feel like. One of those teams will win the tournament, whoever wins that semifinal match. TCU, interesting case there. Going to have to see how they play in the Big 12 tournament. Some days they look good. Some days they're all over the place. That's the thing. Iowa State right now is a 7 according to Palm. They're a 5 for Lunardi. So that seeding's all over the map. Also, there could be a Big 10 team that gets a 5. That certainly is potential. Indiana, which Indiana's so inconsistent. I feel like they're pumped up by the media for that team. There's some games that they like deliver big, and some games they just put in duds, and they lost by 20 to Iowa. TCU, so according to Palm, TCU is a 6. They take on the play-in winner of Penn State and Mississippi State, which they would win that game. They should for TCU. Mississippi State beat TCU at home by single digits without Mike Miles. So if TCU gets Mississippi State again, they should win that game that time with a healthy team. It all depends on the health of that team. That's the thing. Bradley, welcome in. Thanks so much for joining in, man. TCU for Joe Lunardi. He has them as a 5 seed versus Drake. That's an interesting matchup. Drake pounded Bradley in the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament Championship. I can see that one going either way. I can also see TCU making a deep run. He's got TCU potted in the region of Alabama. These are the seeds that he's got. So Alabama as the 1, Xavier as the 4, which has Fremantle out for the rest of the year. And they're bad defensively. TCU thrives upon transition points. That's going to be an issue for Xavier in that game. West Virginia, who's a 9 in that pod, with Alabama the 1. West Virginia would take on Illinois the 8. Drake will be the 12. Yale will be the 13. That's wide open, considering how Alabama's been dropping games late. This week's certainly going to be telling for all the conference tournament stuff. It's really going to be telling what happens. Because TCU could go far because of their experience and their physicality. It's just, is everybody healthy? That's the question for TCU. They've had players in and out of the lineup the whole year, but if that team's healthy, they can make a deep run. And they struggle with efficiency. That's the only problem that they struggle with. Yeah, things going pretty well. Michigan State's a 6, according to Lunardi. So he's got Michigan State taking on a play-in game winner of Utah State or Mississippi State. Jerry Palm's got Mississippi State as a 7. Ooh, yikes. They're taking on Florida Atlantic from Michigan. This is a tough pod here. What Jerry Palm has Michigan State, and he has Michigan State taking on Florida Atlantic to 10. And the winner of that game would take on UCLA to 2 versus Colgate, which is a 15. Which, I said it last year in my tournament projections video. I was like, I wouldn't be shocked if Colgate upsets somebody someday. This year, I don't think this year's the year, in my opinion, for Colgate. It seems like the Patriot League's down, but ironically, I believe it will be the 3rd straight tournament with Colgate, besides the time that Boston University beat Colgate in the Patriot Championship, but they couldn't play it that year because the tournament was canceled in 2020. But yeah, Colgate lost to Tennessee, lost against Wisconsin, both close games, and now their slot is a 15 instead of like a 14 from last year. Last year's team was the better team than this year's team, in my opinion, for Colgate. So I don't see them upsetting whoever they play in the first round this year, but I do think they'll upset somebody down the road for that Colgate team. I'd be stunned if it's this year, though. If there's a team that they would upset, out of like all the 2 seeds, it would probably be like maybe like Arizona. Because Arizona's thrown in blips there. But the thing is, Arizona's got a ton of size. But they've had some turnover issues, and their defense has been leaky. And they've struggled to defend the 3, which Colgate's good from the perimeter. So if that matchup happens, I wouldn't be shocked, but I wouldn't pick it. Because the Patriot League's been down this season, and Colgate, last year they were blowing out opponents in their conference. This year the margin's been quite closer than last year. Yeah, UCLA, Michigan State. That's on the bracket for Jerry Palm. He's got, so Jerry Palm's got, this is the pod with Michigan State in it. He's got Purdue, the 1 seed. Providence is the 8. Pitt is the 9. Which that's a phenomenal matchup. Providence versus Pitt in the first round. Miami's the 5, Xavier's the 4. Northwestern's the 6 versus Nevada. Yuck. I don't know how Northwestern's a 6 seed at this point. Baylor the 3 against Kennesaw State the 14. Michigan State 7 versus Florida Atlantic the 10. And UCLA the 2 versus Colgate according to Jerry Palm. Do I think UNC will make the tournament? I will say no for UNC. Yeah, I think there's going to be a couple bid stealers in the end. I like UCLA to come out of the Pac-12, but if there's any team to keep an eye on Oregon. Also out in the Big East, keep an eye on Villanova. Villanova's getting hot right now. Vanderbilt, I think they've won the last 8 of 9 games out in the SEC. For Vandy. So that's another team that's making a deep, deep run. They've won against teams like Kentucky and Mississippi State, and both of those teams are hot as well. Which I wouldn't be shocked if Kentucky, if fully healthy, Kentucky could make a run, depending on the matchups. We get back to action. St. Mary's missed a 3 to start it off for the second half. Gonzaga just dominant so far. Drew Timme, 14 total points, the top scorer. Down low inside the post. We get a whistle. We get a foul. And this will be picked up by Drew Timme, offensive foul, pushing off underneath the hoop. So Drew Timme picked up one personal foul in the first minute of the first half, picks up his second personal foul. That's his second personal foul now in the first minute of the second half. Fifth turnover of the game by Gonzaga. St. Mary's with 6, but Gonzaga's gone with a full court pressure for majority of this game. St. Mary's has yet to respond with it. Mahaney's only got 2. Mahaney dribbles into the key, takes the jumper, and that's an air ball. Hasn't been able to get going for this whole tournament. Gonzaga past midcourt. Anton Watson passes over to Hickman. Hickman turns the corner, dribble drive inside. Nice dish over to Timme. Floats it up, he scores. Timme's got 16. Drew Timme almost outscoring St. Mary's himself. He's got 16 of the 39 for the Zags. St. Mary's with just 19 points on the board as a team. 24 to 8 points in the paint. St. Mary's down low, missed the bucket with Logan Johnson. Here goes Gonzaga. Gonzaga's metrics have been off the chain for the last month plus. One of the college basketball websites, Batorvik's got Gonzaga as one of the most efficient teams in the nation for the last month plus. Texas A&M's inside the top 5 in that grouping. Missed runner off the front rim by Nolan Hickman. A rebound, back it goes to St. Mary's. Also, UConn's part of that grouping with Gonzaga as one of the best teams playing in the last month or so, while Virginia's in the 90s. St. Mary's scores in transition. 39-21. Kyle Bowen got the bucket. Hickman passes out to his right to Rasir Bolton. Moves on top to Timme. Timme attacks inside the paint. Timme. And he gets the bucket plus the foul. That looked like he walked with a basketball, but hey, he'll take it. Referee has called a foul on St. Mary's. It's going to be on Bowen. And Drew Timme will shoot one at the free throw line and one coming up. He's got 18 points, 8 for 10, 80% shooting. Yeah, West Virginia's a lethal 11 seed. There's some bad 6 seeds. There's a lot of bad 6 seeds that I can see getting upset. Northwestern is one of those teams that's pumped up that I have no clue why in the world they're a 6 seed. I believe Pitt destroyed Northwestern by 30. I just got... They beat Purdue. That's the reason why. Those wins like Indiana, Indiana's been inconsistent. Swept Purdue. That's the thing with Purdue is that they'll probably be a 2 seed, but I mean the Big Ten it's just been inconsistent. I'd probably go to the Sweet 16 for Gonzaga at least. I see them around that ballpark range of an area. Until they get like a major conference team, that's the problem. I feel like the issue that they could run in the bracket is physicality for them. They look like they'll probably be a 3 seed for Gonzaga, but teams that like are super physical could pose a problem to that team. Just because they got like a much tougher type of schedule. Straightaway 3, Nolan Hickman drills it. 44-21. Mahaney getting pressured in the backcourt. Gonzaga able to take it past midcourt. Missed layup by St. Mary's at the rim. They cannot finish this whole game at the rim, and Gonzaga having a shooting clinic like always. Ron, thanks so much for joining in, man. 16 and a half left to go. Anton Watson hands it over to Hickman. Hickman sends it over to Bolton. Bolton shoots the 3, airballs it as it goes out of bounds. Turnover Gonzaga. Let's see what we got here in the bracket. Gonzaga. Gonzaga would take on Furman in the first round, according to Joe Lunardi, which that's an issue for Furman. Yesterday, the takeaway from Furman was that they got an efficient shooting team, so Furman can see if they can stay with Gonzaga offensively, but I think Furman can play a competitive game there. The thing is, the paint defense, they're an undersized team. Drew Timme is going to be a matchup issue if Gonzaga plays Furman. Here we go. This one's a toss-up. I have to see who's available for Kentucky to make this call. Kentucky is a 6 seed. Gonzaga's the 3 in the same pod. It's all about who's available for Kentucky. I'm feeling like Kentucky could have a redemption type year for them. I don't think they could win the championship. They could go on a run, though, and I wouldn't be shocked about it. 3-point shots good for St. Mary's. Yeah, things going pretty well. 15:45 left to go. Gonzaga with a possession. Anton Watson hands it off to Hickman. Pass over to Watson. Floats up the shot. Sinks it. Jerry Palm, CBS. He's got Gonzaga slotted in as a 3. He's got Gonzaga taking on the winner of West Virginia or San Diego State. West Virginia's the 11, San Diego State's the 6. So we have 15:15 left to go. Zags lead by 22, attacking right to the rim. Missed shot by Logan Johnson of St. Mary's. It's been a problem finishing in the paint in this game for the Gaels all night long. Rasir Bolton passes over to Hickman, now on top, off to Ben Gregg. Gregg hands it off to Rasir Bolton, back out to the wing. So we'll go out to the left wing perimeter now with the Zags. Jumper deep 2. It's good by Anton Watson. Everything dropping here for the Zags tonight. What a dominant WCC tournament championship for Gonzaga. 58% from the floor. St. Mary's at just 26% shooting as the Gaels will draw the shooting foul. And finally, they'll get to the media timeout. 14:37 left to go. St. Mary's struggling to get any sort of rhythm in this game today. They've only gone 7 guys with playing time as well. Yeah, that would be a great matchup. I would go with Arizona because Arizona with their assistant, who was an assistant at Gonzaga prior to taking the head coaching job for Arizona, Tommy Lloyd, he knows all the tricks in the trade of Gonzaga. And Arizona's got size. Arizona's got some real size in that team. There'll be a matchup problem for a lot of teams. The thing that's different about them this season is that their defense has been leaky for Arizona. They've struggled defensively a lot this year. They're not as great compared to last season on the defensive side of the floor, but they're big. Michigan would probably be an 11 seed if they make it in. So they'd be the same seed as last year. Yeah, so if Michigan makes it in, here's your first round matchup. Michigan versus San Diego State probably. An 11 versus 6 where the Mountain West tournament champ just gets shafted again. Hey, there we go. So 30 miles away from the real deal for San Diego State. Yeah, whenever tournament time comes, they're just cursed whenever the tournament comes for San Diego State. They have a great regular season, but that first round of the bracket has just been a tough one for them historically. Michigan most likely going to have to win their conference tournament. That's to be safe. I see wavering projections about Michigan. Jerry Palm has them the last team in the play-in game as an 11 seed against Utah State. Joe Lunardi has Michigan out prior to Oklahoma State, Wisconsin, Arizona State, and then North Carolina, all ahead of Michigan, and then Clemson and Oregon right behind Michigan. Joe Lunardi has Nevada ahead of Michigan. That's saying something. So it's wavering projections about this Michigan team right now from two different bracketologists. Some brackets have them in, some brackets have them out, which I think all the teams on Lunardi should move up a spot, and they kick out Nevada. Nevada's been struggling lately. I'm shocked to see them like even in the bracket right now. Back to action. I'm going to get that timeout slide actually back. It's in the second. There we go. All right, 48-25. We're in the second as the free throw is good by St. Mary's. Second one's good by Mahaney. We have 14:37 left to go. Waleed, welcome in, man. Gonzaga with the ball with Hickman. A bounce pass, top of the key, Anton Watson. Watson hands it over to Malachi Smith. Smith attacks inside the paint, and he gets blocked. It goes back to the perimeter to Strother. Strother over to Ben Gregg. Into the hands to Strother. Strother launches a deep three, missed off the rim, tipped up, and the defensive rebound hauled in by St. Mary's with a foul committed on the rebound by the Zags. UNC is going to have to win the ACC tournament, most likely. Yeah, this is rough for St. Mary's. They're going to be in deep trouble if they get Oral Roberts in the first round. Actually, I haven't updated that game in a while, so let's see the score here. Oral Roberts leading North Dakota State 65-32. As we're under 14 minutes left to play. Gonzaga had St. Mary's with a possession, and they almost turned it over. They do. Trying to dribble into a double team. Joshua Jefferson lost control of it on the near side corner, out of bounds again for St. Mary's. I'm going to go back to this team's resume here. Like, where's their quality win? That's what I'm trying to see. San Diego State. They won on neutral floor against San Diego State for St. Mary's. So I guess that's a telling sign about the Mountain West and SDSU right now. That I'm not. So right now, me personally, I'm not picking any Mountain West teams unless, like, for some reason, San Diego State draws Charleston in the first rounds, because Charleston's got 30 wins, but they played in cupcake schedule themselves. That's the best win besides Gonzaga at home. Best win away from home on neutral floor against SDSU for St. Mary's, 68-61. They lost against Washington in overtime. That's the mind-boggling loss right there. They lost 3 in a row. Washington, New Mexico at home, and then they played Houston close. They lost by 5, though, to Houston, 53-48, which both of those teams play like similar styles, snail-paced offenses. St. Mary's couldn't get the tap, and Gonzaga's got numbers. 5-on-4. Here they go. Malachi Smith attacks right to the rim. He scores up and in off the glass. Yeah, this is a type of team that's going to pose a problem for St. Mary's in the tournament. Any team that's like high-flying scoring, efficient shooting. I'm looking right at Oral Roberts. I'm looking right at Toledo. Those type of teams are going to pose a problem for this team. Like any team that can shoot the cover off the ball. And any team that's physical too, because they just don't have the physical tools for this team. They're just like slow tempo, high IQ, depend on their defense to make stops. 50-26. 12:15 left to go remaining as this has been all Gonzaga. St. Mary's with possession with Aiden Mahaney. Mahaney guarded around the outside. Pro hop into the key for St. Mary's, and they'll draw. Oh no, they'll turn it over. Travel violation in the key called on Augustus Marcelonis for St. Mary's. Been a nightmare of a game here for the Gaels today. And this team last year whipped Indiana in the first round. 12 minutes left to play. Gonzaga top of the key, Julian Strother hands it over to Hickman. Hickman towards his right around the perimeter. Hand off to Salas. Passes back out to the top off to Watson. Watson towards his right. Watson. Bounce pass over to the top to Ben Gregg. 11:40 left to go. Gregg takes the three. Oh, he makes it. Ben Gregg coming off the bench drills a three for number 33. You know things are good for Gonzaga. 11.5 left to go. Mahaney pass midcourt. Mahaney swings it out on top. Straightaway three. Marcelonis missed off the front rim. Offensive rebound. Dukas back out to the top, and the three-point shot is good by Aiden Mahaney. So he finally makes something here. This is not a good sign going into the NCAA tournament. Aiden Mahaney, the top scorer this season, with just 7 points, with 29 in the scoreboard, with 11 minutes left to play. Malachi Smith. Spin move into the key. Smith puts it up. Smith draws the foul. And 2 shots coming up by Malachi Smith as he gets Augustus Marcelonis on the shooting foul. Donovan McCrabb's got American, the MVC, WCC, A10, Mountain West. I think they're going to drop to a 6 for St. Mary's. If San Diego State is at a 6 right now, I think St. Mary's should drop as well. But if they're a 5, yeah, easily fire in the 12-5. Also, it depends on what happens with the teams around them. I'm gonna see if there's any 6 seeds that have potential to move up to a 5. Which honestly, if you're a 6 seed right now, do you want that 5? Because that 12-5 upset has become the most common thing in the first round lately. All right, here's the 6 seeds. Michigan State. Michigan State potentially can move up, especially if they win the Big Ten tournament. San Diego State, they can move up, certainly, if they win the Mountain West title, and that certainly could happen. Iowa State, right now, is a 5 according to Lunardi. I'm shocked that they're not a 6 or a 7 based on their weeks prior, but they had that big win against Baylor, which saved them entering this week's Big 12 tournament. Kentucky's at a 6 right now for Kentucky. Honestly, for Kentucky, I think it's better to be a 6 than a 5, in my opinion, because there's so many lethal 12 seeds. That's the problem. And then a 6 is Creighton, which that Big East tournament's wide open. I'm going UConn in the Big East tournament. Here's the 4s. These 4s could drop back to a 5. UConn looking like they're going to be more of a 3 when comes Selection Sunday for UConn, for my opinion on them. But they're a 4 right now, according to Lunardi. Virginia, they could be a 5, especially if they lose against Boston College in the ACC tournament, based on how they've been playing. Xavier's a 4. They could also become a 5. TCU is a 5. Indiana's a 4. Indiana's got Toledo, according to Lunardi. Miami's a 5. Miami could go up to a 4, especially if they win the ACC tournament. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Yeah, Villanova's going to have to win the Big East tournament to get in, which is certainly possible. It's open in the Big East. They got... Big East is stacked. UConn's hot right now. Villanova's hot. Marquette's been playing lights out all year long. Creighton's been solid. It's going to be a great Big East tournament. Yeah, they got a good chance if they do win the Big Ten tournament for Indiana. I think Indiana could get upset. I have to see what they do in their conference tournament. Some of the games have been a dud for them. Sometimes they look like a championship team. Some games they pulled out duds. Both free throws good at the line for Gonzaga. Drew Timme on the bench with a Big time lead for the Zags. 10:50 left to go. Hey, there you go. So you got your own basketball goal in your rim. Looks like you play your own college basketball. That's awesome there, Bryce. Baseline drive, St. Mary's, and a block by Gonzaga. St. Mary's gets it back, though, with 10.5 left to play. Number 15, Chris Howell, the first time into the game. A three-point shot missed off the back rim by Kyle Bowen, with Gonzaga coming up with a defensive rebound. Hunter Salas. Pass it on top to Anton Watson. Salas at the edge of the logo. Salas hands it off to Strother. Now over to Malachi Smith. Malachi Smith, edge of the midcourt logo to his left. Makes the pass over to number 0, Julian Strother, who turns the corner, scores with a layup. One more bucket. They get a chance to go up by 30 for the Zags. They're still full court pressuring, and St. Mary's turns it over. The pressure getting right to St. Mary's all game long. 29 points with under 10 minutes left. Man, it's just such embarrassing for St. Mary's. These poor kids tonight. This poor team. And it's not like Gonzaga's putting up video game numbers on them either. It's not like the score's like 70, 75 right now, and Gonzaga's on pace for the usual to go for like 90 or like 80. Got 9.5 left to go. It's just St. Mary's cannot buy a basket tonight. So many missed shots from like point-blank range. This team just cannot connect on any shots. As Gonzaga will head back to the free throw line. 2 shots coming up once again. Yeah, the St. Mary's team just doesn't look like it's deep either. They've played 8 guys tonight. And now they got 9 as one player checks in. They played 9 players tonight. They've gone with 7 players receiving at least 11 minutes tonight for St. Mary's. And a 30-point lead. So Ben Gregg knocks down both of the free throws. $9:20 left to go. Gonzaga just dominant. Took a couple minutes to get settled on in this game. It was scoreless for like the first 2.5 minutes, but once they get the first 3 of the game, it was over from there on out. St. Mary's playing catch-up the whole entire game as Gonzaga led 14-4 at one point. And once you get up against St. Mary's, it's just over. They just don't have the tempo, don't have the offense to get into that flow and the rhythm of their game to get back into it. It's all through their defense. It's just a one-sided team. So 1 shot here at the line for St. Mary's plus the foul. Dukas makes the free throw. Wow, that's unreal. The Northern Arizona, 22 losses in the Big Sky, or Big Sky Conference team. 22 losses this season. In a conference title game tomorrow night. That's ridiculous. That says a lot about the Big Sky. I can't even remember the last time a team from the Big Sky has like won a tournament game. The tournament history on that conference, though, has not been good. Like, they've been like 16 seeds a lot in the bracket, or They've had a couple of the 14 seeds, I believe. Montana State last year, which got crushed against Texas Tech. And then Eastern Washington actually played close like the first 30 minutes against Kansas back in 2021. Yeah, Furman, first time since 1980 last night. Missed jumper at the top by Gonzaga. So we got 8:30 left to play. By the way, Oral Roberts blowing out North Dakota State 76-43. The Lumberjacks. Yeah, watch that team out of all teams to go on a run. The Northern Arizona Lumberjacks. St. Peter's won their first round against Fairfield 70-52. Northern Arizona 12-22, 5-13 in the Big Sky, just knocked off Montana, which is 17-14. And Montana has been usually a regular in the past that's come from the Big Sky. It's either been Montana, Montana State, or Eastern Washington from a couple of years ago. I think Weber State's gone a few times as well. Bucket by St. Mary's inside the key for Kyle Bowen. 7:20 remaining. Just looking at Northern Arizona in their season. So they lost by 18 their first game against Michigan State. Lost by 16 their game number 2 of the season at Arizona State. They got destroyed by Texas 73-48. I've got Arizona State out right now. They're close. They're going to have to do a lot of work in their conference tournament to get there. So they played for power conference teams for this Northern Arizona team. They have losses over Michigan State, Arizona State, and Texas. And this is a team that started off 3-12 in the conference play for Northern Arizona. Now, they played a bunch of games in overtime. They played 4 games in overtime this year. Funny part about it is that the last time they played against Montana State, they lost by 1 against Montana State, who I believe is the 2 seed out of the Big Sky right now, who's playing to get into the championship game tonight. Nolan Hickman getting himself in a run lately. So we had a couple big threes by the Zags. Hickman is up to 12 points now. They made the last 5 out of 7. Hickman just made the last 3, turning the corner at the top, and he took it and he drilled it. Man, what a lopsided game tonight. Hopefully the games I cover in the tournament will not end like this. Hoping for all close games. Would love to stream a buzzer beater in the tournament. That would be surreal. Woof. Northern Arizona, they beat UC Santa Barbara, which is one of the top teams in the Big West. I think it's UC Santa Barbara and UC Irvine, who's the top 2 teams in that conference. They beat them 63-54. Hey, there we go. Some World Baseball Classic for Alex. I'll see you back later, man. So I plan on being off tomorrow. My next stream, I'm hoping to be back on Thursday. I'm probably going to cover the two late night games, or the 2 night games. I believe they're at 7 and 9:30 for the Big 12 on Thursday night and then Friday night. I'm going to go with Texas A&M out of the SEC. Big 10, I got Michigan State, and then Big East, I got UConn. Yep, well, Gonzaga's not going to be like the Celtics the past 3 games. Yeah, this game's almost done. We got 6:19 remaining. 3 players double figures for the Zags. Drew Timme with 18, Nolan Hickman with 12, Julian Strother with 10. I don't know which game is worse, this game or last year between Loyola Chicago and Ohio State. That was rough. I remember I streamed that game last year, and Loyola Chicago could not buy a shot. That was bad. I had the faith in them to win that game against Ohio State because Loyola Chicago had all that experience. And they were like the biggest letdown in the first round last year. Hey, there we go. Best of luck to Bryce. Thanks so much, man. Appreciate it. That's great. All right, so we get back to action. 6 minutes remaining before Gonzaga gets crowned WCC champions. Gonzaga with the ball with Hickman. Ben Gregg, handoff Hickman, turns the corner, passes off the roll down. Ben Gregg got deflected, gets it back, got stripped and lost it. Turnover into the hands of Mahaney. Mahaney, handoff to Dukas. Dukas backs his way, free throw circle. Back on top to Mahaney. Cross court into the hands to Logan Johnson. Johnson, bounce pass, and a whistle on the fall down low. Looks like Mitchell Saxon was getting held up by Ben Gregg, and that will be number 7 picked up by Gonzaga. So St. Mary's now in the bonus. Feel free to join in on the Behind Your Basketball Bracket Challenge group. That link is posted in the chat, posted in the description. If you guys would like to join in, be a part of the tournament challenge once again this year. Let's see what we got. Yeah, I'll check it out sometime. Feel free to post the link sometime in the chat, and then afterwards I can check it out. Yeah, I take Mizzou in that game over St. Mary's. Missouri's got an explosive offense. Also, they're scrappy. They force steals. St. Mary's today, what they showed me is that they couldn't keep the ball out in front, and Missouri's really struggled with defense. Their problems has been defense and rebounding for them, but they're explosive. I think St. Mary's would have a problem with them because Missouri is explosive. Couple buckets by the Zags as they went in transition off the rebound, just scored again. 69-35, down to 4.5 minutes left to go. Thursday night, so what those games would be. So that would be the Big 12 winners from the night before. Texas would play at the 7 o'clock game. So on Thursday night, I'm planning on streaming Texas. Whoever wins that matchup would come out and play Texas. And then K-State against TCU. That's a great one. I know a lot of people picking K-State to win the Big 12 tournament. Just going to get up the Big 12 bracket here. So let's see. 4 minutes left to go in a blowout lead for the Zags. Okay, so Oklahoma State, that's must win. Must win for Oklahoma State. They take on Oklahoma State, Oklahoma. That winner, the 7-10, would take on Texas as Malachi Smith fires a 3 and drills it. 3:40 left to play. So Texas against Oklahoma State on Thursday night at 7. That's the night matchup of the Big 12 quarterfinals. And then K-State the 3 taking on TCU the 6. They have games before that. I'm at work during the day. But Kansas would take on... Kansas is the 1 seed out of that bracket. They would take on the winner, West Virginia, Texas Tech, which I see West Virginia easily winning that one. Texas Tech has their head coach now away from the program. So I think that team's just fully imploded, and I think they're gonna pull a St. Mary's and UMass from today tomorrow. UMass, by the way, got destroyed today in the first game against Richmond. That was the first game this morning at 11. Baylor taking on Iowa State, a rematch from Saturday. Well, that's interesting. So I think Baylor's got a chance to take the Big 12 tournament, but They got to get revenge on Iowa State first. Yeah, this part of the hours turned into blowout city. Oral Roberts, 81. Oral Roberts by 31, 81-50, up over North Dakota State. Yeah, I can see that happening. Vanderbilt. Vandy, I believe they won their last 8 out of 9. So they won their last 8 out of 9 games after they got crushed against Alabama. Last game of January, it was like, I think like 101-44. They lost against peak Alabama. I don't know what's worse, or this score is worse. Richmond beating UMass today, 71-38. That's a big oof. .330 left to play. This has been a sad game all over. Logan Johnson, one of the key players in the St. Mary's squad, just 2 for 11 shooting. Aiden Mahaney, 2 for 8. Alex Dukas, the top scorer, has got 10 points for St. Mary's, 40% shooting. As a team, they're shooting just 27% from the floor and just 3 of 14 from 3. 3.5 left to go. Largest lead by 37 for the Zags. Gonzaga shooting 57%, both from the floor and from three-point range as well. They're 8 of 14. Smith floats up the runner, missed off the front rim, and a rebound snatched away by Dukas. 3 minutes left to play. Yeah, this has been a blowout right from the start. Welcome in Preston on the stream. This gives me all the confidence to say that St. Mary's will not win their first round matchup unless they get put into a team against like a Charleston or something like that who's been playing nobodies. Which by now I don't even think they're gonna get a 5 seed. I think they're dropping down to the 6 because of this. And Gonzaga's moving up to the 2. Which would put St. Mary's in some terrible trouble right now. West Virginia is an 11 seed. That's a matchup nightmare considering West Virginia's schedule. St. Mary's just scored back-to-back buckets. 72-39 now as we got 2:40 left to go. Media timeout on the floor. So it was Logan Johnson who just scored on the layup. So Logan Johnson got the last bucket off the Malachi Smith miss. 72-39. As we have a timeout with 2:40. Yeah, what a brutal game. Woof. Michigan will probably have to win. They're going to have to get to the Big Ten Tournament Championship, most likely, for them to get them a case, which beating Purdue would certainly help out. Yeah, you can make a case for Vandy based on how they've been playing. They look like the Texas A&M from last year, getting hot at the right time. Yeah, that would be wild. Well, that's the 5 versus 4 matchup in the Big East tournament, and honestly, based on how Providence is playing, I would be stunned if they beat UConn right now. UConn's peaking back again at the right time. Providence is probably going to get a 10 seed for them. Either a 9 or a 10, but based on how they've been playing, they're looking more like they'll be a 10. Oh, man, what a lopsided game. 2:41 left to go. Crowning champions today, Charleston winning the CAA for the Colonial. 30 wins for Charleston entering the brackets. Well-deserved, able to get into the March Madness tournament. Northern Kentucky winning the Horizon League. Fairleigh Dickinson lost by 1 to Merrimack, but unfortunate Division I transfer rule from D2 to D1 for Merrimack. They're still in their 4-year transition period, so they can't participate in March Madness, which is just a ridiculous type of rule. 2.5 left to go. And Oral Roberts right now is on its way to victory with under 4 minutes left to play. It's Oral Roberts in dominant fashion, 85-54, leading North Dakota State with under 4 minutes left to go. We got 2:22 remaining here. St. Mary's makes the free throw back from the timeout. Gonzaga down inside the low post. They draw the foul, and this will send Efton Reed to the line, shooting 2. Efton Reed, a transfer from LSU, 7-footer on the Zags. And the and one is good. He scored a bucket right before, so it's 75-40. 2:10 remaining. Baseline drive, Logan Johnson, backdoor scores, count it in the bucket with 2:11. Drew Timme right now, the top scorer with 18 tonight for the Zags. Drew Timme scored 18 points in 20 minutes, shot 80% from the floor. 14 points by Malachi Smith, 10 points by Julian Strother. Nolan Hickman's got 12, making 4 threes. St. Mary's makes the free throw by Johnson, 2 minutes left to play. As Gonzaga has their bench players in, Efton Reed, Dominic Harris, Ben Gregg, who rolls down. Malachi Smith into the game. Efton Reed around the perimeter. Reed at the left wing, 8 on the shot clock. Defended by number 1, Harry Wessels from Australia. Down low, Reed picks it up. Reed slams it down. And that's been the exclamation point in this game. Efton Reed, two-handed flush. 1:30 left to play. I'll probably go out for, probably an 11 seed for UNC if they win the ACC tournament. Yeah, Villanova's getting hot right now at the right time. The Big East is wide open with a couple teams. UConn's playing lights out. Creighton has been playing great lately. Villanova getting super hot, can be the dark horse. Marquette has been dominant throughout the conference this year. Xavier's got one of the best rated offenses in the nation for them. They are missing Zach Fremantle, though. I feel like they're one of the more long shots in the conference. Based on lately for Xavier. A ball gets poked loose, stolen away by St. Mary's as the score is 77-44. Jumper at the wing by St. Mary's missed off the mark. Tipped off the glass and pulled down in the corner by the Zags. 1 minute left to go. Gonzaga dominant in the CCC tournament championship game, and the Zags showed St. Mary's who's daddy of the WCC tonight. Both of these teams going into the tournament in opposite directions. Gonzaga looking like they worked their way up to a number 2 seed on Selection Sunday. St. Mary's looks like they have fallen back from a 5 to a 6 with a transition 3 good. 30 seconds left to play. Oral Roberts, by the way, 92-56, up over North Dakota State with 1:20 left to go. Max A-Smith, 26 points, 11 assists. They're 19 of 21 at the free throw line for Oral Roberts tonight. That's always a good sign when you get a team that can make free throws. 7 seconds remaining. St. Mary's with a steal, but this game has been a blowout right from the start. A garbage time bucket with 1 second left. Drew Timme and the Zags pull off the W. Gonzaga crowned WCC tournament champions. Timme with 18 points in 20 minutes, shot the ball 80% from the floor. As this game goes final in dominant fashion, Gonzaga wins by a landslide tonight. 77-51, the final score as time has expired on the clock. Double figures tonight in this game, 18 by Timme. 14 by Malachi Smith off the bench. 12 points, making 4 threes by Nolan Hickman. 10 points by Julian Straughter. Logan Johnson finished with 20. A lot of those buckets late in the second half. 10 points by Alex Dukas. Aidan Mahaney just 7 points though for the top scorer this season for St. Mary's. The Gaels were limited to just 38% shooting. Or 33% shooting. They shot the ball 38% in the second half, but 33% in the entire game. Just 4 for 16 from 3 at 25% from three-point range. The tough game for St. Mary's. Gonzaga just elite with their offense. 58% shooting. Drew Timme scoring 18 points in 20 minutes. The dominant fashion for the Zags tonight. Thanks so much, all, for joining in, being a part here in the stream. And at the same time, Oral Roberts has just won the Summit League Championship, 29-4, as the Golden Eagles of Oral Roberts with Max A-Smith punched their ticket into the NCAA tournament. And that will be a lethal 12 seed that nobody wants to play, whoever the 5 is in the first round. 92-58, Oral Roberts wins their game. They're in the bracket at the same time as Gonzaga wins the WCC tournament. And Drew Timme tonight as well becomes Gonzaga's all-time leading scorer in program history as well for Drew Timme with his 18 points tonight. Next stream I plan on covering will be on Thursday. I'm probably going to do both of the Big 12 night games, starting with Texas versus the winner of Oklahoma State or Oklahoma at 7. And then after that, TCU versus K-State, the 6 versus 3 in the Big 12 at 9:30. So that's the next time I plan on streaming. I'm going to take tomorrow off, and then I hope to be back on Thursday. We're going to close out to the channel members here. All channel members get a shout out at the end of each and every single one of my live streams. We got Jason, Rajeep, Russell, Oreo Pudding, Bradley, Braden, Mario, Bino, Mark, John, Kenneth, Jess, Ahino, Joseph, Vegas, SG Sports Talk, Michael, Warren, I Am Ghost, Kelly, Asia, Laszlo, Roderick, Reynaldo, Didi, Katie, Barco, Siegel, Woo Pig, Ian, Oink Oink, Emmanuel, and Robin. Thanks so much for joining in tonight, everybody. Gonzaga out in dominant fashion, winning by a landslide against St. Mary's, 77-51, the final score as the Zags are crowned WCC tournament champions. Thanks all for joining in, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your night.